Every morning, before the noise of the world begins, there is a quiet moment where direction is decided. In that moment, your mind is most open, most impressionable, and most honest. What you say to yourself during this time sets the tone for how you think, how you act, and how you respond to challenges throughout the day. Self-talk is not just background noise in your head. It is the internal instruction manual guiding your behavior. Most people allow their mornings to be ruled by habit or circumstance. They wake up and immediately think about problems, pressure, or what went wrong yesterday. Without realizing it, they start the day already defeated. When this happens repeatedly, days turn into patterns and patterns turn into lifestyles. This is why morning self-talk is so powerful. It doesn't just influence the day, it slowly shapes the direction of your life. When you intentionally choose your words in the morning, you are choosing your mindset. Words influence beliefs, and beliefs influence actions. If you tell yourself that the day will be difficult, your mind begins to look for reasons to struggle. But if you tell yourself that the day is an opportunity, your mind starts searching for solutions. This shift does not change the world around you. It changes how you meet the world, and that makes all the difference. Morning self-talk also establishes your standards. What you expect from yourself is reflected in how you speak to yourself. If your inner dialogue is careless, your actions will be careless. If your inner dialogue is disciplined, your actions will begin to follow. High achievers are not driven by constant motivation. They are guided by strong internal standards reinforced through daily self-reminders. They decide in advance how they will behave, regardless of circumstances. Another important truth is that your mind believes what you repeatedly tell it. The brain learns through repetition, not intention. A single positive thought won't change much, but repeated, deliberate self-talk rewires how you see yourself and your abilities. Over time, this creates confidence, resilience, and clarity. You begin to act in alignment with the identity you speak into existence each morning. Most importantly, morning self-talk gives you control. When you choose your thoughts, instead of reacting to the day, you move from living on autopilot to living with purpose. You stop being a victim of moods and start becoming the director of your actions. That control compounds. One intentional morning leads to a productive day. Productive days lead to strong habits. Strong habits build a meaningful life. In the end, success is not something you stumble upon, it is something you prepare for daily. And preparation begins with the words you speak to yourself when the day is still quiet and full of possibility. Progress begins the moment you understand that feelings are not reliable guides for action. Feelings rise and fall based on comfort, mood, and circumstance, but success is built on consistency, not convenience. If you wait to feel ready, confident, or motivated before taking action, you will delay your growth indefinitely. Discipline exists to bridge the gap between intention and achievement. Taking responsibility means recognizing that your life improves when you do. It is the decision to stop blaming conditions, people, or the past, and start focusing on choices. Responsibility is empowering because it places control back in your hands. You may not control outcomes, but you always control effort, preparation, and persistence. Once you accept this truth, excuses lose their appeal, and action becomes a daily commitment rather than a reaction to inspiration. Discipline is the practice of doing what needs to be done, especially when it is uncomfortable. It is not harsh or restrictive, it is purposeful. Every disciplined action strengthens your character and builds self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, even small ones, you develop trust in your own ability to follow through. That trust becomes confidence, and confidence fuels further action. Many people believe motivation creates discipline, but in reality, discipline creates motivation. Action generates momentum. Once you begin, energy follows. The hardest part is not the work itself, but the decision to start. Discipline removes the need to debate with yourself every day. When standards are set in advance, choices become simpler. You do not ask whether you feel like doing the work, you ask whether the work aligns with your goals. Responsibility and discipline also teach patience. Results rarely appear immediately, but discipline keeps you moving forward when progress feels slow. This is where most people quit, not because they are incapable, but because they expect quick rewards. Those who succeed understand that effort is an investment, not a transaction. You plant today so you can harvest later. When you commit to discipline, you stop living reactively. Instead of being controlled by distractions, emotions, or external pressure, you operate by principle. This creates stability in uncertain environments. While others wait for the perfect moment, disciplined individuals create progress in imperfect conditions. Over time, responsibility and discipline shape identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries, you see yourself as someone who does. That shift is powerful. It changes how you approach challenges, how you manage time, and how you view setbacks. Discipline does not eliminate difficulty, but it ensures difficulty does not defeat you. In the end, personal growth is not about extraordinary effort. It is about ordinary effort applied consistently. Responsibility gives you ownership of your life, and discipline gives you the structure to improve it. Together, they form the foundation upon which lasting success is built. One of the greatest obstacles to growth is the belief that everything must be perfect before it can begin. Perfection creates pressure, and pressure often leads to paralysis. When you expect flawless results, you hesitate to start, you fear mistakes, and you delay progress. Growth, on the other hand, thrives on movement. It is not concerned with being perfect. It is concerned with becoming better. Life is a continuous process of learning, adjusting, and improving. Every day offers lessons, and every mistake carries information. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you give yourself permission to learn through experience. Instead of judging yourself harshly for what went wrong, you begin to ask better questions. What did I learn? What can I do differently next time? This mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones. Consistency is the true engine of improvement. Small actions performed daily may seem insignificant in the moment, but they accumulate into powerful results over time. Just as a single workout does not transform the body, a single effort does not transform a life. It is the repeated practice of good habits that creates strength, skill, and confidence. Consistency turns average effort into exceptional outcomes. When you commit to getting a little better each day, you remove the fear of failure. Progress becomes manageable. You stop trying to change everything at once and start improving one area at a time. This approach reduces overwhelm and builds momentum. Each small win reinforces belief, and belief fuels continued effort. Over time, improvement becomes a way of life rather than a temporary push. Another important truth is that perfection is an illusion. No successful person arrived without mistakes, misjudgments, or delays. What separates those who grow from those who quit is not talent, but tolerance for imperfection. Those who succeed understand that clarity often comes after action, not before it. They are willing to move forward without having every answer. Focusing on progress also builds resilience. When your goal is improvement, challenges lose their power to discourage you. You expect difficulty as part of the process, not as a sign that something is wrong. This perspective allows you to stay committed even when results are slow. You learn to measure success not by immediate outcomes, but by consistent effort. Over time, the habit of daily improvement reshapes your identity. You begin to see yourself as a learner, a builder, and a person in motion. Confidence grows naturally because it is rooted in evidence, the proof that you show up, try again, and improve. This confidence is stable, not fragile, because it is based on effort rather than perfection. In the end, meaningful success is never sudden. It is the result of many ordinary days handled with intention. When you choose consistency over perfection, you give yourself the freedom to grow, the patience to persist, and the strength to achieve more than you once believed possible. Persistence is the quiet force that determines long-term success. Talent may open doors and motivation may spark beginnings, but it is persistence that keeps progress alive when excitement fades and challenges appear. Every meaningful achievement is the result of sustained effort applied over time. Ordinary days, when handled with consistency and purpose, become the foundation of extraordinary outcomes. Most people underestimate the power of small, repeated actions. They look for dramatic changes and quick results, forgetting that life rewards accumulation. A single focused day may not seem important, but when focused days are repeated, momentum is created. Persistence turns daily effort into compounded growth. What feels insignificant today becomes invaluable over time. Challenges are not signs that you should stop. They are evidence that growth is taking place. Every obstacle tests commitment. Those who persist understand that difficulty is part of the journey, not a reason to abandon it. Instead of asking whether the path is easy, they ask whether it is worth continuing. This mindset transforms frustration into endurance and setbacks into training. Consistency also builds trust in yourself. Each time you continue despite discomfort, you reinforce the belief that you can rely on your own effort. This self-trust is essential. When you know you will keep going, fear loses its influence. You stop negotiating with doubt and start moving with purpose. Persistence becomes a personal standard rather than a temporary response. Another powerful aspect of persistence is patience. Results often lag behind effort. There is a season where you work without recognition, improvement without applause. Many quit during this phase because they mistake slow progress for failure. Persistent individuals understand that growth happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. They stay committed because they respect the process. Persistence also simplifies decision-making. When quitting is removed as an option, focus increases. Energy that would have been wasted on doubt is redirected towards solutions. You become more resourceful, more creative, and more resilient. Instead of asking whether you can continue, you ask how to continue more effectively. Over time, persistence shapes character. You become stronger not because life becomes easier, but because you become capable of handling more. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. Challenges that once discouraged you now strengthen you. This transformation does not happen in a single moment. It happens through repeated decisions to show up and keep going. In the end, extraordinary lives are not built in extraordinary moments, but in ordinary days honored with persistence. When you commit to continuing regardless of mood, pace, or temporary results, you give your effort time to work. And with time, consistency, and patience, persistence turns intention into lasting achievement. Keeping going is a decision made long before the challenge appears. Most people wait until difficulty arrives to decide whether they will continue, and by then emotions are high and judgment is weak. Those who succeed decide in advance that stopping is not an option. This single commitment changes how obstacles are perceived. Instead of seeing problems as reasons to quit, they become situations to work through. The desire to quit often has little to do with ability and everything to do with discomfort. Growth is uncomfortable because it requires change, effort, and patience. When progress is slow or invisible, doubt tries to take control. This is where the decision to keep going becomes essential. Persistence is not about feeling strong every day. It is about acting with consistency, even on days you feel uncertain or tired. Continuing forward builds inner strength. Each time you push past the urge to stop, you develop resilience. That resilience becomes a quiet confidence, the knowledge that you can endure difficulty without collapsing under it. This kind of confidence is far more powerful than temporary motivation because it is built through experience, not emotion. Another important truth is that momentum favors those who stay in motion. When you keep going even slowly, you remain connected to progress. Stopping completely breaks rhythm and makes restarting harder. Forward movement, no matter how small, keeps your goals alive and your focus sharp. Consistency preserves momentum, and momentum reduces resistance. Keeping going also refines character. It teaches patience, humility, and discipline. You learn that success is not always dramatic or fast, but steady and earned. This understanding protects you from frustration and impulsive decisions. You begin to value long-term growth over short-term comfort, and that shift alone separates achievers from quitters. Many people underestimate how close they are to a breakthrough when they consider giving up. Results often arrive after sustained effort, not during the early stages. Those who persist long enough allow time to work in their favor. Effort compounds quietly, and persistence ensures you are still present when progress becomes visible. Over time, the habit of continuing becomes part of your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who gives things a try. You see yourself as someone who finishes, who endures, who follows through. This identity influences every area of life, work, health, relationships, and personal goals. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust fuels further commitment. In the end, success belongs to those who refuse to stop when it would be easier to walk away. Keeping going does not guarantee a smooth journey, but it guarantees growth. And growth, sustained over time, is what transforms effort into achievement and intention into a meaningful life. Every meaningful change begins with a decision, and every lasting result is shaped by what you practice daily. The way you speak to yourself, the responsibility you accept, the discipline you apply, and the persistence you maintain all work together to determine the direction of your life. None of these principles are dramatic on their own, but combined and practiced consistently, they create powerful transformation. Progress does not demand perfection, speed, or constant motivation. It asks for commitment to show up, to improve a little each day, and to continue even when results are not immediately visible. Ordinary days, when guided by strong inner standards and steady effort, become the building blocks of extraordinary outcomes. What you repeat becomes who you are. When you take responsibility, you reclaim control. When you act with discipline, you create momentum. When you focus on improvement instead of perfection, you remove fear and build confidence. And when you decide to keep going, you give your efforts time to work. These choices shape not only what you achieve, but who you become in the process. In the end, success is not found in sudden breakthroughs or perfect conditions. It is earned through daily intention, patient effort, and unwavering persistence. Speak wisely to yourself, act consistently, and trust the process. If you do that long enough, your actions will align with your goals. And your goals will eventually align with the life you once only imagined.